Robel Gugsa. How are you?
Good, Scott. How are you?
I'm good. I can't believe I've never asked this before, but the Gugsa, what is this, what nationality is that? Give me a little more on your last name.
Sure. So my parents are originally from Ethiopia, so that's an Ethiopian name. We emigrated to the U.S. In the early 1980s,
Mm-hmm.
New York City on the East Coast, and I was there for quite some time before migrating over to LA.
Mm-hmm. Very good. I had no idea. All these years I've known you and never thought to ask. So,
Exactly. Because of I don't have my accent anymore. That's probably why. It does come out
yeah.
once in a while.
Yeah, and my daughter when she first came home and when she would speak, she didn't speak English yet, but it was such this beautiful accent, and I was thinking, gosh, I wonder if she'll keep it. She was three and
Mhm.
a half. It's
Right.
like not even a hint anymore.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Especially when they show up here young, like I did.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, that always brings back very sweet memories when I see pictures or I hear her talking like that. I'm like, gosh, you didn't even speak English when you came home. It's
Wow.
pretty, yeah, it's
Wow.
special as heck. She's amazing.
How old is she now?
She just turned 17.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Almost done
she's
with high
she's
school?
just a young lady now and very sweet, very poised, very bright. I mean, she's the full package. I'm dad, so I have my way of thinking about things. But yeah, I think she's like just really special. We hit the lottery over and over with her. We really did.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Well, that's what
yeah,
it's all about, right? Being a parent.
yeah, absolutely. So I know your specialty is senior placement, not seniors in high school, but senior citizens. And so, what got you into the business? I mean, because you seem like when I met you, you said that's what you did, and I went like, obviously, this guy's a really nice, caring person. I could tell that this it was a good fit. But how did you get into it? What made that transition for you?
Um, so it wasn't, I'll be honest, it wasn't by design.
Hmm.
I mean, I had been in the position on the other side, having to care for my dad and my father-in-law, and had seen the challenges of the industry. This was back in 2003 and four, but never really thought about, well, is this a business I can get into? I saw some of the challenges, but never occurred to me until I was working for another company, running a large business for about 8 years. And during COVID, it really opened my eyes to the level of work that I was putting in and burning the candle on both ends. And my kids were in middle school, and I realized maybe I need to slow it down a little bit,
Hmm.
and thought about maybe sometime in the future I'm going to reflect back and realize that I didn't do the right thing and having spent the quality of time. So I resigned and decided to look for an opportunity that had somewhat of a mission-based career that could at least
Hmm.
give me the sense of um, leaving some impact on people's lives. And but I didn't know what that was going to be, to be honest. And I started looking at some opportunities of businesses that may be available uh, to acquire, and I came across the home care business in
Hmm.
helping seniors age well at home versus the
Hmm.
placement. So we provide caregivers to provide the
Hmm.
necessary activities of daily living for them to continue to live at home. And so I found that to be a really fascinating business,
Hmm.
and I jumped on the deep end of the pool about 3 years ago, and I haven't looked back.
That's great. You called it, you were looking for something mission based. I've never heard anyone put it that way, but that really, does that have to do with your faith?
Um, Maybe a little bit of that, but I think working as in my prior career, working as a CEO, you're so far removed from the work that your company does, and you don't really see the impact every day. What you're looking at is numbers, P&Ls, and just maneuvering the numbers up and down to make sure that you meet, your objectives, and not really realizing what kind of impact does that have with your employees and what kind of impact does that have with your customers. Right? You're just so far removed. In this business, you're connected to your clients face to face. You can see. the overwhelming conditions the clients are in or their adult kids are facing, the challenges, health challenges, and the work that you do has a direct impact, and you see that every single day, right? And
Mhm.
to me, that's kind of where the mission based comes to life, which is wanting to help people, and it kind of fits my personality to some degree, I think.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. So we're hearing all about this, talking about kids and just how sweet of a guy you are, but there's got to be some real estate hell in there. Something happened in the past, some good story or stories. I would love to hear one of yours because it's gonna be interesting to hear what you think was a really difficult thing because someone else, you're just so easygoing.
Yeah.
Tell us what you got.
So my version of real estate hell was this was back in probably early 2000. My wife and I had bought a house. It was somewhat a fixer upper, but we were careful in deciding what level of a fixer upper was going to be. And a lot of the homes we were looking at were built in the 60s, and they have that traditional, purple bathroom tiles and those big fluffy carpets, and nothing has been updated. It's the original owners. And so we were trying to find a balance between what is it that we're willing to fix and what wasn't we're willing to touch. And we found a house that had the kitchen and the family room recently updated,
Mm-hmm.
and we were happy to see that. And the only thing that work needed to be done was the bathrooms. So I
Okay.
figure, you know what, this is a great compromise. We wouldn't have to spend a lot of money. I could do the bath. I'm very handy. My grandfather was a carpenter, so I had learned a lot about doing work around the house, and so I was willing to take on the task of doing the bathrooms. And so we bought the house, and I did the bathrooms. That went well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say maybe 3 years later, my kids love to play with ping pong balls, and I would notice that whenever they're playing in the family room or the kitchen, the ball would bounce around, but then it would find this place where it would go up one side of the kitchen floor and then roll down and then go up the other half and then kind of settle in the middle. And what I realized was,
So
wait a minute,
so it's
is this
bowed like this?
floor bowed? Because I
Oh
never really
no.
felt it initially. And I decided to measure it, and I could see it was about a quarter inch lower in the center versus at the edges. But
Mm-hmm.
every year it just kept getting worse and worse to a point now the tiles were beginning to crack.
Oh no.
And I'm like, okay, this is not good. And we were, I guess, not making a decision as to we need to take a look at this quickly and address it. And so one day I was doing the dishes, and all of a sudden I heard this loud popping sound. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what the hell is that? And I started looking around. And all of a sudden, in the corner of my eye, I see the kitchen counter essentially cracked, and a
Oh my
portion of it
gosh.
just overlaid over the other one. And I realized we were in deep doo doo.
Oh my gosh.
And so we brought in a construction company to come in and take a look at it. And they drilled a hole at the center of the kitchen floor, and they put a camera in. What they discovered was there was a 4.5 inch gap between the concrete and the actual soil. So
Oh.
essentially,
So it's
it was
floating.
just floating on its own, and it was beginning to crack under its own weight. So here is a beautiful kitchen that we thought was done.
Mm-hmm.
We had to end up tearing down the whole place completely, gutted it down, and put some more gravel and all that stuff, redid the floor, and rebuilt the whole
Well, what
kitchen.
caused it? Was there like a pipe at some point that maybe took dirt out or?
It seemed like what the construction, the general contractor told us was that they never actually poured some gravel underneath. So they essentially poured the concrete on the soil. So due to a lot of rain conditions, I guess the earth underneath it began to settle, and the
Mm-hmm.
concrete was just floating on its own.
My gosh, how does that even happen? I
Well,
mean,
and this is something you don't even discover during inspection, right? You
you
can't.
can't. How would
Right,
how would they know? I mean,
right,
you might have seen a little bowing, but there's always movement.
right.
It's rare that I've gone into houses that if you could take a marble and it'll just roll out, and I go, so what do you think? And he goes, you know what? It's the second floor. It's been around for 60 years. It's it's good. This is how far it's gone in that long. I wouldn't worry about it. And I'm going like,
Right,
you're kidding me.
right. Right.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't
You
know.
don't know.
So that cost you a lot of money. So
That
look,
did.
that is a real estate health story. That's good. I'm impressed. So what else do you have for me?
Well, the second one was so on the East Coast, um, a lot of homes have basements,
Hmm.
and the basements tend to have what's called a sump pump. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay. So the house that we had what's called a French drain around the
Uh-huh.
perimeter of the basement, and it's a perforated pipe that essentially collects water passively, and directs it towards a sump pump, which then pumps the water out. Well, when we moved in, they said, "Well, it's great. This place has a sump pump because a lot of basements don't have that,
Hmm.
and as a result, you end up having some basement flooding." And I thought, okay, this is great. And we had hurricane, I believe it was Gloria back in 2008 or nine. Well, during that time, the electricity went out, and guess what? The pump didn't work, and so we had a
Oh.
basement
Oh,
full of
wow. So you
about.
have a pump that's supposed to work, but it can be, if you lose electricity, it's not going to work. And that's when you need it most.
We need it most. And no one ever told me they have some pumps that also work with a battery backup.
Right. That's what I was
Well,
thinking.
right. And I didn't realize that. And so that was a lesson learned, and put the battery back up immediately the next day. And on the next hurricane, we were good to go, as dry as it could be.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. This wasn't local, though. Where was this?
This was in New Jersey. So I lived in New Jersey from 1995 till 2015 before we moved here.
Hmm. Excellent. And you were saying the hurricane was Gloria?
Hurricane Gloria, right.
Uh-huh.
That
You,
was
you,
that
you
was the
you were
first
got
one.
by Hurricane Gloria.
Yeah, yeah. And then Sandy was the second one. That one was, I believe, later on 2011 or 12, I think.
Very good. Very good. Do you have any more to share?
No, I think those were the two that
Okay,
that.
so I've got one. I got a question then.
Okay.
So, which is where it's interesting because you went into went down a different path than I thought you were going to go down. So, in your business, you're bringing in senior caregivers, and so you must have gone into houses. Like, I'll give you it for instance. I got a deal I'm closing this Friday, and I go in there. I'm warned ahead of time that the guy that's living there is a hoarder, and he was evicted by the sheriff, like actually taken out, but he keeps breaking back in. So we're walking through, and I'm thinking, this guy's going to jump out at any freaking minute. Because everywhere you go around, it's dark and doors are creaking and there's stuff everywhere. And I'm going like, I was literally getting nervous. My hands were sweating. So next time I came in, I brought a big flashlight. And I said, let's walk around together because just in case. Turns out the guy, I think, he was upset, but I think he's harmless. And we ended up connecting him with someone from our group to say, look, maybe you can find him a place. This guy, where's he going to go when you're a hoarder and then all of a sudden you're uprooted? Where do you go? So now that's a hell story to me. And so, do you have anything, along those lines?
Yes. Well, I was, I guess, telling about my story, but from a senior perspective, there was one gentleman who was a veteran,
Mm-hmm.
and lived by himself in a very large house, about, I'd say, a single floor, maybe 3,000 square feet, like 4 or 5 bedrooms. So we went in, to provide care. The caregiver called us and said, "You guys have to come in and take a look at this place." She was like, "I can't even walk in this place." And I didn't know what that meant.
Right.
So we got in the car immediately, drove out, and every single square inch of his house was just packed with hoarding. I mean,
Wow.
you could imagine newspaper, you name it, and he had two dogs, and the dogs lived with him, never went outside. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you could just imagine. I mean, the house was in really, really bad shape, and so we were
Right.
willing to help him clean out the hoarding, and he initially agreed to it, but
Mm-hmm.
it became problematic when he decided to sit down and go through every single box by himself. And
Sad.
then
It's
and
just
then
sad.
and we said, look, we can't do that. We either clean out all of this for you so you can have a decent place to live, but he wasn't
Mm-hmm.
willing to do that. And so we couldn't put our caregivers in that kind of condition to provide care. So we had to call Adult Protective Services to help him out.
Were they able to clear it out and
I
make
don't
it
know
like
what they
livable?
did, but he was a little bit of a challenge to help him do that, and so I'm not sure where it ended up at the end.
Yeah, that's tough because sometimes, I mean, to get to that place, obviously there's an imbalance somewhere. There's an emotional thing that's really messed up, and so that always makes me sad. That's why when we went to this house I was just telling you about, and the guy had to be kicked out because he had already been evicted. He got a little belligerent, but I'm thinking like, gosh, I was thinking, poor guy too. He's living in this situation. It's unhealthy. I don't know what his emotional state is, but you're losing your home that you've been in for like 20 something years.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
that's hard.
it's
That's
unfortunate.
hard. And for this guy, that was a house he was actually born in. His parents lived there. They both
Hmm.
passed away, so he inherited the property, but has always been a loner, and
Hmm.
uh, and had no one care for him until he finally got to a point where he couldn't provide care for himself, and he reached out to the VA, and they contacted us and said, we think you guys can help this guy out, but at the end of the day, he was really into his hoarding, and he didn't want anybody touching his stuff unless he had a chance to review every single item before he throw it out, which was impossible for us to do. I mean, you can imagine a 3,000 square foot home
Right.
with boxes everywhere, and he didn't even have running water in the house. That's how bad it was.
And animals.
And animals, right?
I learned early in my career that there was one time I was shooting a house and I'm thinking like, gosh, if we could just move a couple things around, it looks so much better. And then the seller came back. Oh, she was livid. And I went like, but no, we'll put it right back. The fact that I touched her stuff at all, I thought, never going to do that again without asking. I just didn't think. I thought I was just doing a good job, going out of my way, doing stuff that many wouldn't do because I wanted it to look nicer. But
Right.
wow, I learned early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so do you have a charity or a cause that you would like to share? Because it's something that we can shed light on.
Yes. So I sit on a board of a nonprofit called Convalescent Aid Society. They're based
Convalescent
out
aid.
Aid Society. Their website is cas1.org, the number one.org. They provide durable non-medical equipment to seniors or anyone who needs it, free of charge as a loaner. No income requirement. Just go on their website,
Mm-hmm.
put in a request, and you can go pick it up curbside. They've been around since 19, I believe, 23. They've been servicing the San Gabriel Valley for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and recently we've opened up a new warehouse in San Fernando Valley in Burbank to
Oh, that's
service
great.
the community in San Fernando Valley. So, especially these days when you have significant cutbacks in Medicare and insurance, not a lot of insurance companies now could easily, approve durable medical equipment. So for
Mm-hmm.
those who really need it, they can get it for free, use
Mm-hmm.
it, and then when they get done, they return it. And the nonprofit is doesn't take any government funding. It's all raised through people who donate, $10, $5 after they get done with their equipment, and
Mm-hmm.
we're self-funded, so it does a tremendous service to the community.
That's great. I feel like I've heard of that before, but that's great. I can imagine that there's so many people as they go, what are they going to do? In fact, I have a guy right now that could probably really use that. Yeah, I'm gonna get in touch with you to see if this because I went over to this guy's house recently and someone I've known through networking for 15 plus years, and now he's older and he's disabled. And it was interesting because Robel, I went over to his house, walking around this single level, and it's nice, it's clean. I mean, there's some stuff in there, but nothing big, nothing hoarding. And I said, why am I here? And he says, what do you mean? I said, you've got this place close to almost all, close to being fully retrofitted. It's a single story. It's a nice neighborhood. You have solar, so that bill is down. You owe hardly any money, and the money you do owe is cheap money. So is there a really good reason to go? And he goes, well, I don't know. I was just wondering. I said, dude, I don't think you should sell at all. I think you should stay here. You're comfortable. Your son's here. You're here. If there's a compelling reason, I'll help you. But I mean, whatever you need. But I would expect there's going to be a great reason. Otherwise, why not just stay here? And that's turns out to be a lot of my conversations. Awesome. I said, you sure you want to sell?
And you know what's interesting, Scott, is that piece in terms of what you just did for that client. I mean, some agents would say, or real estate brokers would just say, yeah, sure, you want to sell, we'll put up your house, right? And that's what makes you unique, right? You're telling it like it is and what needs to be done. It's really about what the client wants, what's the best interest of the client, and that's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I mean that's what makes you different. And by the way, I just want to say this: when I first joined Provisors, initially I was very reluctant about what Provisors was all about, and but when I did decide to join, I asked, look, I need to be part of a group where the team leader is a great connector and could put me in touch with people that could be 1 or 2 degrees separation from him that can help me. And so I was told that Universal was the group I should join. And man, you have so really lived up to that expectation. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate everything you've done to connect me to people that know that could be helpful to me as well.
Yeah, well, when I met you, I thought, yeah, there's going to be some people I think that are going to really resonate with you. And so to me, I love doing that. It's one of those things where I'm very intentional about connecting good people. And because I saw the benefit of it, when I started doing it like 17, 18 years ago, I was going, oh my gosh, look, all the money was just made. Or, oh my gosh, look at how this person was in such a bad situation and now everything is better for them. I went, gosh, connecting people, that's what I need to do. Connect really great resources. And it's not always about someone that maybe you're going to work with. It might be someone who could be who could be valuable to you in so many other ways.
Right. No, I appreciate that, and I'm sure there's a lot I could learn, and hopefully we'll do more troikas.
Oh yeah. Request one with me anytime. I'm in.
Absolutely, we'll do.
Yeah,
we'll do.
All right. Well, I told you this is going to be quick and easy. Gosh, under 30 minutes. It's like just like that.
Yeah. No, time flies. By the way, I know this is your podcast, but I had just in a way to kind of connect and get a little bit of understanding about Scott, I had prepared about 5 or 6 rapid fire questions to get to know you a little better. Can I ask you those?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, all right. What's one thing that people get wrong about you at first?
At first, that's a good question. It really depends on the group, because you have like friends from the kids' school. You have people from networking. You have people, there's so many different groups. I can tell you that something that happened recently was that I was going out of my way to help someone. And so much so that pushed a listing back several months because I wanted to get her a lot more money by doing it right. And then I ended up putting my own money into it. I said, look, you can just reimburse me. And then I called in a bunch of favors from people I know, which is not always the best thing to do, because if the person doesn't deliver, I can't just leave my vendors hanging. I mean, they're supporting their families and stuff. So I knew that it would come out of my pocket. So we work and work and work. Everyone bends over backwards. And then we get multiple offers. And then we get this person like a $200,000 premium. I mean, it is significant. And I'm like, yeah, right on, team, right on. And she comes outside and looks at me and she goes, I just feel like you're not watching out for me. And I went,
wow.
What? It's like, oh, I mean, literally, I was like, I don't know what. And I thought, what did I started thinking, what did I do that would make her think that? I mean, I'm invested in this at my expense, at my family's expense. Going again and said, oh. And so I didn't know what I had done, but when that happens, that floors me. And I look back and I go, is there something I did that still made her feel that way, even after everything that we did? And so I don't know if that answers the question, but the
It
great
does. It
thing
does.
is recently we ended up having a talk, and there was more emotion that came out, and we went, oh, that's where that came from. So, well, tell me, let's learn from each other. And so that's yeah. I don't know if it's not right the exact answer to it, but yeah.
Okay. Here's another one.
Hmm.
What's something that you learned the hard way?
What's something my wife always says? She likes that I have a heart to help people, but she goes, sometimes you're too nice. And so when I'm dealing with a situation like I just told you, where I went so far out of my way
Right.
and
Right.
pushed back time and put everything at risk and everything to help somebody, and then it wasn't appreciated, that's the hard way of learning that, well, it's going to happen. No matter how nice or what your intentions are, sometimes you're still going to step into a punch, and you're going to step into a punch with someone. It's like you pull someone up, say, "How are you? Are you okay? You okay?" Boom! I'm going, what just happened? I'm going to buy you a meal. I'm going to be there for you. So sometimes that's the hard way for me. But the thing is, I'm not going to change it. I mean, I like
I
who
was
I
going to say,
am.
hopefully you don't change. Right. Right.
No, it's
Okay.
like
One more.
I was
If you
watching.
could keep. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say
No.
it's
Go
like
ahead.
This John Candy. This he just had a documentary, and the thing I liked about him during that was when he says, because he was always grew up, he's a heavy set guy, and he was always dealing with a lot of issues and all this kind of stuff. And at one point in the documentary, he says, "I like me. I like who I am," because he was not like there's things that he wasn't liking because of the way the world sometimes treated him. So what I'm very intentional not about not becoming jaded over that, because sometimes you're going to get hit in the face, but how many times, Robel, are you going to be able to really help someone and they just are so appreciative and give you a hug and you go, I did something. I feel good about what just happened here. So I'm not going to change it, but I just know that I'm going to still, I'll step into a few more punches, I'm sure, but I got to do what I got
Yeah.
to
I
do.
definitely don't change. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. One more. If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. My dad. I miss my dad. I only recently started celebrating his loss because I was so mad that he was gone. He lived a really good life, but I didn't want to hear about it, and I lost him. So recently I started celebrating his life. I was at a buddy's funeral, and he's up there. His dad just passed, and he's celebrating. And I'm going, that guy's doing it right. He's doing it right. And so I've been changing that and working on that. But yeah, I'm not going to go to the next one because the next one will get me all choked up too. But yeah, my dad. Yeah, for sure. He was
All right.
like a
So let's
hero.
leave
He
it
was
on
a
a
real
good
stand-up
positive.
guy. Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's when you have those kinds of dads, it's um, there's a reason you are who you are because of him, right?
Yeah. He affected, the whole family affected me in so many ways. My dad was just a stand-up guy, usually very calm, very smart. Anyone he sat down with or talked to, he could relate to. And if you didn't like my dad, I'm going like, something's freaking wrong with you. Because everyone likes my dad. He's a likable, good, sincere guy. And so, yeah, that was a big loss. I'm just so thrilled I had all that time with him. And I always, tell the kids, I'll see him in the blink of an eye. And I'll give him a hug for you guys. And then I'll see you guys in the blink of an eye. It's just the way it's going to be. But thank you for that. Get me all choked up, man. You're better at this than I am.
Oh, stop. All right, let's leave it on a positive note. What motivates you more? Is it passion or discipline?
It's got to be both. I'm very disciplined, but I'm disciplined because of what I'm passionate about. When I first got into real estate, I was fortunate to. I was like in the top 10 in my office, like on the second year. Wall Street Journal called me out as a rising star in real estate, and I'm going, what the fuck? I'm not doing much, but I knew what I wanted to do. So they had a panel, and they had all these top agents who I was like really, really. I mean, they were mentors to me, and I was impressed by them, inspired by them. And they were talking about all these things they did and farming and this and this. And I said, and because now I had my son James at home that I wanted to get home to. And I said, What are you passionate about? You know, what really, really moves you? And everyone's looking at me, says, because once you know that, and it doesn't, whatever it is, once you know that, how on earth can you not work your ass off to get it? So I worked hard to get home to be with James and with all the kids. So I work really hard. I'm very disciplined in doing stuff. Like sometimes doing these back to back, the podcasts are exhausting and I've got a ton to do. And I'm going like, yeah, but this is part of what I'm doing, you know, to shed a light on you, to get us both in front of our sphere. It's really positive. It's a good thing. So I have to have the discipline to do it. So I just think about my wife and kids and then I go, you know, just do it. Stop talking about it. Just do it. So that's what I do. You want to see something cool? You like this. Let's see if you can see it. See that's right behind me. It says, be a Nike, just do it.
Be a Nike, just do it. Love
so
it.
My office has hardly anything in it, but then you see stuff like that. And this is, when I grow up, I want to be just like my dad and sell real estate and sell houses.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff that,
love it.
You know, the passion and you know, who am I to not be disciplined when I have a responsibility and a desire to take care of them. So good questions.
Love it. This was wonderful. This was great.
Thank
great,
you.
Great podcast. Love it.
Yeah. Well,
and thank you for inviting me.
You brought a lot more heart into it, and I really appreciate that.
Well, anytime. Likewise, you did the same.
Yeah.